The morning started like any other day at the International Space Station. Alex finished his coffee and walked to the observation deck, watching Earth spin slowly below. He had been working as a space scientist for 3 years now, studying alien life forms and helping with diplomatic missions. Today was different, though. Today, visitors from another world were coming to Earth. Alex checked his watch. The Zephyrian ship would arrive in 2 hours. He had read all the files about these aliens, but seeing them in person would be something else entirely. The Zephyrians were known for their incredible technology and their unique way of communicating, through colored lights on their skin. This meeting could change everything for both planets. The space station buzzed with activity. Diplomats rushed around preparing meeting rooms. Security teams checked their equipment, and translation specialists tested their devices. Everyone knew how important this visit was. Earth needed the Zephyrians' help with growing food, and the Zephyrians wanted to learn about human culture. Alex made his way to the docking bay where a small crowd had gathered. Government officials in their best suits stood next to scientists holding recording devices. Everyone looked nervous, but excited. Through the large windows, they could see a beautiful silver ship approaching. It moved smoothly through space, almost like it was dancing. The ship docked with a soft thud. Alex felt his heart beat faster as the doors opened. The first Zephyrian stepped out, and everyone gasped. They looked almost human, but with pale blue skin that shimmered with tiny lights. The patterns of light moved across their skin like living art, changing colors from blue to green to gold. More Zephyrians emerged from the ship. Alex counted 12 of them, all wearing simple white robes. They moved with grace, their light patterns flickering as they communicated with each other. The lead diplomat, a tall figure with bright golden patterns, approached the human delegation. Then Alex saw her. She walked behind the others, slightly apart from the group. Her light patterns were different from the rest. Where the other Zephyrians had perfect symmetrical designs flowing across their skin, hers were uneven. Her left arm hung at her side, and the lights on that side of her body were dim and scattered. The other Zephyrians seemed to ignore her, but Alex found himself watching her every move. She had the same graceful walk as the others, but there was something else in her movements. A quiet strength, maybe, or perhaps a sadness that she tried to hide. The formal introductions began. The lead Zephyrian's name was Commander Zale, and he spoke through a translation device that turned his light patterns into words. He introduced the members of his team one by one. When he reached the young woman who had caught Alex's attention, he paused. "This is Princess Kira," he said, his voice somehow less warm than before. "She is here to observe and learn." Alex noticed that the princess was the only one not given a specific job title. While the others were introduced as scientists, negotiators, or cultural experts, she was just there to watch. It seemed strange for a princess to have such a minor role. The human delegation welcomed the visitors with prepared speeches. Alex watched as the Zephyrians' light patterns changed during the translations. He had studied their basic communication methods, so he could tell when they were interested, confused, or polite. Princess Kira's patterns were harder to read because they were so uneven, but he thought he saw curiosity there after the formal greetings. The groups moved to the conference room. Alex's job was to help with scientific translations when needed. As a xenobiologist, he understood both the technical terms and the cultural differences that sometimes caused confusion. During the first meeting, Alex learned more about what the Zephyrians wanted. They were interested in establishing trade relationships, sharing technology, and learning about human society. But there was something else. Something the translation devices couldn't quite explain properly. Commander Zale mentioned something called a bonding ceremony. The translation came out as trust, ritual, or connection process, but Alex could tell the meaning was deeper than that. It seemed to be some kind of tradition that was important for making lasting agreements between different species. As the meetings continued over the next few days, Alex noticed that Princess Kira often sat alone. During breaks, the other Zephyrians would gather in small groups, their light patterns creating beautiful displays as they talked. But Kira usually stood by the windows, looking out at Earth, or reading from a small device. Alex also noticed how the human diplomats behaved around her. They were polite but distant. When she tried to join conversations, they would smile and nod, but then gradually move away. It was subtle, but Alex saw it happening over and over again. One day, Alex was working late in the translation lab when Princess Kira walked in. She seemed surprised to find him there, her light patterns flickering with what he thought might be embarrassment. "I'm sorry," she said through her translation device. "I was looking for a quiet place to work." "It's okay," Alex replied. "I'm just finishing up some notes. You can stay if you want." She hesitated for a moment, then sat down at the other end of the lab. Alex tried to focus on his work, but he found himself glancing at her. Light patterns were dim but steady, and she was studying what looked like human language guides. "Are you learning English?" he asked. She looked up, surprised. "I'm trying to. The translation devices work well, but I want to understand your language better." "That's really smart," Alex said. "I've been trying to learn some basic Zephyrian. Light patterns, but it's much harder than I expected." For the first time since he'd met her, Princess Kira's light patterns brightened. "You're studying our language? Little bit? I'm probably terrible at it, but I find it fascinating how you can express so many different ideas with light and color." They talked for another hour. Alex learned that Princess Kira was actually very intelligent and had studied human culture extensively before the mission. She knew things about Earth that surprised him, and she asked thoughtful questions about human society. As the days passed, Alex began to understand why Princess Kira was treated differently. In Zephyrian culture, physical perfection was highly valued, especially for royalty. Her disability made her seem less important to both her own people and the human diplomats. But the more Alex talked with her, the more he realized how wrong everyone was. Princess Kira had insights and ideas that the other Zephyrians missed. She understood both cultures in ways that could help bridge the gap between their worlds. The diplomatic talks were moving slowly, though. There were cultural misunderstandings and disagreements about trade terms. Most importantly, the Zephyrians kept mentioning the bonding ceremony. But none of the human diplomats seemed interested in participating. Alex began to suspect that this ceremony was more important than anyone realized, and he had a feeling that Princess Kira held the key to understanding what it really meant. 2 weeks had passed since the Zephyrians arrived, and the diplomatic talks were not going well. Alex watched from the translation booth as another meeting ended with frustrated looks on both sides. The human diplomats shuffled their papers and whispered among themselves, while the Zephyrians' light patterns flickered with what Alex had learned meant disappointment. Commander Zale stood up slowly, his golden patterns dimming. "We must discuss the bonding ceremony soon," he said through his translator. "Without it, we cannot move forward with any agreements." The lead human diplomat, Director Chen, cleared his throat uncomfortably. "We understand the importance of your traditions, Commander. We're still reviewing the cultural requirements and selecting appropriate candidates." Alex knew this was not entirely true. He had overheard conversations in the hallways. The human officials were worried about what this bonding ceremony actually meant. The translations were unclear. Nobody wanted to volunteer for something they didn't fully understand. After the meeting, Alex stayed behind to organize his notes. He noticed Princess Kira sitting alone in the corner, her light patterns barely visible. She looked smaller, somehow more isolated than usual. The other Zephyrians had left without speaking to her, and the human diplomats had avoided making eye contact. "Another difficult day?" Alex asked, approaching her carefully. She looked up, surprised. Her patterns brightened slightly when she saw him. "Yes, very difficult. Time is running out." "What do you mean?" Princess Kira hesitated, then activated her personal translator. "My people have specific time frames for diplomatic missions. We don't complete the bonding ceremony within the next week, we must return home. The agreement will be considered failed." Alex felt a cold worry in his stomach. "What happens then? For your people? You continue as before, but without our help." "For my people, ... She paused, her patterns shifting to colors Alex had never seen before. "For me specifically, it means exile. I was chosen to lead this mission because the elders believed my ... differences made me expendable." The word hit Alex like a punch. Expendable? If I fail, they can blame my disability. If I succeed, they can take credit for giving me a chance. Her patterns turned a deep blue that Alex had learned meant sadness. It's a situation where they win either way. Alex sat down beside her. Anger building in his chest? That's horrible. You're the smartest person in either delegation. You understand both cultures better than anyone. Intelligence doesn't matter if no one will participate in the ceremony with me. She looked directly at him. Alex, I need to explain something about the bonding ceremony. Your translators are not getting it right. Over the next hour, Princess Kira explained what the ceremony actually involved. It wasn't what the human diplomats feared. The bonding was a deep emotional and mental connection that allowed two beings to truly understand each other's thoughts and feelings. For Zephyrians, this level of trust was essential before making any important agreements. It's like sharing your deepest self with someone, she explained. Your memories, your fears, your hopes.
Oh.
For a short time, you experience life as the other person experiences it. Alex was fascinated. That's incredible. Why are the humans so afraid of it? Because they don't understand it, and because... She paused, her patterns flickering with embarrassment. Because no one wants to bond with me. What do you mean, princess? Kira's patterns dimmed again. In the past 2 weeks, I have approached 12 different human diplomats and officials. Each one has found an excuse to decline. They say they're not qualified, or they have other responsibilities, or they need more time to consider it. Alex felt his heart sink, but that's not the real reason. No, she said quietly. The real reason is that they see my disability and assume I'm not worthy of such an important ceremony. They think bonding with a broken princess would somehow diminish them or make the agreement less meaningful. The anger in Alex's chest grew hotter. That's completely wrong. You're not broken. I know that. You know that, but they don't. Stood up and walked to the window, looking out at Earth. The worst part is that my own people agree with them. They sent me on this mission expecting me to fail, so they could justify their treatment of me. Alex watched her reflection in the window. Even with her uneven light patterns, she was beautiful. More than that, she was brave, intelligent, and kind. The fact that others couldn't see past her disability made him furious. There has to be someone willing to do the ceremony, he said. Princess Kira turned back to him, her pattern shifting to a color he hadn't seen before. There is, she said softly, but I don't know if I should ask. Who? She looked directly into his eyes. You, Alex. Felt his world shift. Me. You're the only human who has treated me as an equal. You're the only one who has taken time to understand our culture and learn our language. You're the only one who sees me as more than just a disabled princess. Alex's mind raced. But I'm not a diplomat, I'm just a scientist. Oh, that doesn't matter. The ceremony is about understanding and trust, not political titles. Her patterns brightened with hope. Alex, you know more about both our species than most of the official diplomats. You've spent weeks learning our language and customs. It would be perfect for this. But what about the responsibility? Something goes wrong? ... Nothing will go wrong. The ceremony is safe, and I will guide you through it. She paused. Her patterns shifting to what Alex recognized as nervousness. I know I'm asking a lot. This would change everything for both of us. The bonding creates a permanent connection. We would always be able to sense each other's emotions and thoughts to some degree. Alex stood up and walked to where she was standing. What would happen if I said yes? The ceremony would create a bridge between our species. Your people would gain access to our technology and knowledge. My people would learn about human culture and find new ways to grow. The trade agreements would be signed and both our worlds would benefit. And what about you personally? Princess Kira's patterns softened. I would be able to return home with honor. I would prove that I can serve my people despite my disability. I would have a true friend who understands me completely. Alex looked out at Earth, thinking about everything she had told him. The weight of responsibility was enormous, but so was the opportunity. 2 worlds were depending on this decision. More importantly, someone he had come to care about was depending. On him? Can I think about it? He asked. Of course. Alex. She reached out and gently touched his arm. Please don't take too long. We only have a few days left. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Princess Kira sitting alone in meetings, being ignored by diplomats from both worlds. He thought about her intelligence and kindness, and how she had been sent on this mission to fail. He also thought about the bonding ceremony, and what it would mean to share such a deep connection with someone. The idea was both exciting and terrifying. But as he lay in his bed, looking out at the stars, Alex realized something important. He wasn't just considering this ceremony to save the diplomatic mission. He was considering it because he genuinely cared about Princess Kira and wanted to help her succeed. Somewhere over the past 2 weeks, he had developed feelings for her that went beyond friendship. The question was he brave enough to act on those feelings and change the course of history for both their worlds? Alex woke up the next morning with his decision already made. He had spent the entire night thinking about Princess Kira, the failed diplomatic talks, and what would happen if he didn't help. The answer was clear in his heart, even if his mind was still nervous about what lay ahead. He found Princess Kira in the observation lounge, sitting alone as usual. Her light patterns were dim, and she looked like she hadn't slept either. When she saw him approaching, her patterns flickered with hope mixed with fear. "I'll do it," Alex said simply. Princess Kira's entire body lit up with brilliant colors. For a moment, she looked like a living rainbow. "Really? You mean it?" "Yes. I want to help you, and I want to help both our worlds." Alex sat down beside her. "But I need you to explain everything to me. I want to understand exactly what will happen." Relief flooded through Princess Kira's patterns. "Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much." She took a deep breath. "First, we need to tell both delegations about your decision. Then we have to prepare for the ceremony." The announcement caused quite a stir. Commander Zale looked surprised but pleased. The other Zephyrians whispered among themselves, their patterns flickering with what Alex thought might be skepticism. The human diplomats were even more shocked. Director Chen pulled Alex aside. "Are you sure about this? We don't fully understand what this ceremony involves." "I've learned enough to know it's safe," Alex replied. "It's the only way to save the mission." "But you're not a trained diplomat. What if something goes wrong?" Alex looked across the room at Princess Kira, who was explaining something to Commander Zale. "Then at least we'll have tried. Right now, we're definitely going to fail if we don't do anything." Director Chen wasn't happy, but he agreed to let Alex proceed. The ceremony was scheduled for the next evening, giving them time to prepare the special chamber and gather the necessary materials. Princess Kira spent the day teaching Alex about the ritual. "The bonding happens in stages," she explained. "We share surface thoughts and feelings, then deeper memories. Finally, we experience each other's most important life moments." "Will it hurt?" Alex asked. "No, not physically. But it can be emotionally intense. You'll feel everything I've felt, and I'll feel everything you've felt. There will be no secrets between us." Alex nodded. "I understand. I trust you." That evening, they gathered in a specially prepared chamber Zephyrians had brought strange plants that glowed with soft light, creating a peaceful atmosphere. Both delegations stood around the edges of the room, watching quietly. Princess Kira had changed into a ceremonial robe that seemed to enhance her natural light patterns. Despite her disability, she looked regal and beautiful. Alex wore simple white clothing that the Zephyrians had provided. "Are you ready?" Princess Kira asked. Alex took a deep breath. "As ready as I can be." They sat facing each other in the center of the room. Princess Kira placed her good hand on Alex's forehead, and he placed his hand on hers. The glowing plants around them began to pulse with a gentle rhythm. "Close your eyes," Princess Kira whispered. "Let your mind open to mine." At first, nothing happened. Then Alex felt a warm, tingling sensation spreading through his head. Suddenly, he could sense Princess Kira's thoughts and emotions like they were his own. He felt her nervousness about the ceremony, her hope that it would work, and her gratitude toward him. But he also felt something else, a deep loneliness that had been with her for years, and a fierce determination to prove herself worthy despite what others thought. Princess Kira gasped softly. She was experiencing Alex's mind too, his fascination with alien cultures, his excitement about the scientific possibilities, and his growing feelings for her. She also felt his own loneliness, his struggles to fit in with the diplomatic team, and his genuine desire to help her succeed. The connection deepened. Alex began to see Princess Kira's memories as if they were his own. He saw her as a child, playing with her brother in beautiful crystal gardens. He felt her joy and innocence in those early years. Then came the accident. Alex experienced it through her eyes, the crash of their flying vehicle. The moment she realized her brother was trapped, her desperate efforts to save him despite her own injuries. He felt her physical pain as her left arm was crushed, and her emotional pain as she realized the injury would change her life forever. But he also felt her relief when her brother survived, and her quiet pride in knowing she had saved him. Even as a child, she had been willing to sacrifice herself for others. Princess Kira was experiencing Alex's memories too. She saw his childhood on Earth, his fascination with the stars, his years of studying alien life forms. She felt his excitement when he first learned about the Zephyrian visit, his wonder at meeting her people. She also experienced his frustration with the diplomatic process, his anger at how she was being treated, and his growing admiration for her intelligence and strength. Through his memories, she saw herself as he saw her, not as a disabled princess, but as a remarkable person who had overcome tremendous challenges. The final stage of the bonding was the most intense. They shared their deepest fears and hopes, their dreams for the future, and their most private thoughts. Alex felt Princess Kira's fear of never being accepted by her people, and her hope that this mission would change everything. He felt her longing for someone who would see her as she truly was. Princess Kira felt Alex's fear of not being good enough, his hope of making a real difference in the world, and his growing love for her. She felt his amazement at her strength, and his desire to protect her from those who had hurt her. As the ceremony reached its peak, both of them experienced a moment of perfect understanding. They saw themselves through each other's eyes, and felt completely accepted and loved. The loneliness that had haunted both of them for years simply melted away. When the connection finally began to fade, they opened their eyes and looked at each other. Both had tears on their faces, but they were smiling. "How do you feel?" Princess Kira asked softly. "Different," Alex replied. "Complete, somehow. Like I've been missing a part of myself my whole life." Princess Kira nodded. "Feel the same way?" The bonding worked perfectly. Around them, both delegations were staring in amazement. The ceremony had created a light show unlike anything they had ever seen. The plants in the room were glowing brighter, and the air itself seemed to shimmer with energy. Commander Zale stepped forward, his patterns bright with excitement. "The bonding is complete," he announced. "Our species are now truly connected. We can begin the treaty negotiations immediately." Director Chen looked stunned but pleased. The ceremony was beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. Over the next few hours, Alex and Princess Kira worked together to facilitate the treaty discussions. Their shared understanding of both cultures allowed them to bridge gaps that had seemed impossible before. Within hours, agreements were reached on trade, technology sharing, and cultural exchange. But more importantly, something had changed between Alex and Princess Kira. The bonding had created a permanent connection between them. They could sense each other's emotions and thoughts even when they were apart. It was like having a constant companion who understood them completely. As the evening ended and the celebrations began, Alex and Princess Kira stood together watching the two delegations mingle and laugh. The mission was a success, but their personal journey was just beginning. "What happens now?" Alex asked. Princess Kira smiled, her patterns glowing with happiness. "Now we figure out how to build a life together across two worlds." Alex reached out and took her hand. "I'd like that. Very much." The bonding ceremony had not only saved the diplomatic mission, but had created something beautiful and lasting between two people who had found in each other exactly what they had been missing all their lives. 3 months had passed since the bonding ceremony, and life had become more complicated than Alex ever imagined. The treaty between Earth and the Zephyrian world was signed and working well, but the personal challenges he and Princess Kira faced were just beginning. Alex stood in his new quarters aboard the Zephyrian ship, looking out at the stars. Half his time was now spent in space, learning Zephyrian culture and helping with ongoing diplomatic work. The other half was spent on Earth, teaching humans about their new alien partners. It was exhausting but exciting work. The bond between him and Princess Kira had grown stronger every day. He could feel her emotions even when she was in another part of the ship.
Right.
She was in a meeting with the Zephyrian Council, and he could sense her frustration through their connection. A soft chime at his door interrupted his thoughts. "Come in," he called. Dr. Williams, one of the human diplomats, entered with a concerned expression. "Alex, we need to talk." Alex gestured to a chair. "What's wrong?" "It's been some negative reaction back on Earth about your relationship with Princess Kira. Some people are saying you've been brainwashed or that you're no longer loyal to humanity." Alex felt anger rise in his chest. "That's ridiculous. The bonding ceremony enhanced my understanding of both species. If anything, I'm more valuable to Earth now than I was before. I know that, and most of the government knows that too. But there are some groups spreading rumors on social media. They're saying that humans who bond with aliens can't be trusted anymore." Alex rubbed his temples. This wasn't the first time he'd heard these accusations. "What do they want me to do about it?" "Just be careful. Don't give them any ammunition to use against you. And maybe consider spending more time on Earth to show people that you're still human." After Dr. Williams left, Alex felt Princess Kira's presence in his mind before he saw her. She entered his quarters with her light patterns dim, clearly upset about something. "Rough meeting?" he asked. "You could say that." She sat down heavily on his couch. "The traditional council members are still not happy about our bonding. They think I should have chosen a Zephyrian partner instead of a human." "What did they say?" Princess Kira's patterns flickered with anger. "They said that my choice shows I'm not truly committed to our people. They're questioning whether I should continue as a cultural ambassador." Alex moved to sit beside her.
That's unfair."
"You've accomplished more in the past 3 months than any other ambassador in Zephyrian history." "I know, but they don't see it that way. They see a disabled princess who chose an alien over her own kind." She leaned against him. "Sometimes I wonder if we made the right choice." "Don't say that," Alex said firmly. "We've helped create the most successful interspecies partnership in history. Both our worlds are benefiting. But at what cost? You're facing criticism on Earth, and I'm facing criticism here. Maybe we should have thought about this more carefully." Alex could feel her doubt through their bond, and it made his heart ache. "Kira, do you regret bonding with me?" She looked up at him, her patterns brightening. "No, never. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. But I hate that our happiness is causing problems for you. I hate that you're suffering because of me. But we can't let other people's prejudices destroy what we've built together." Over the next few weeks, they both worked hard to prove their critics wrong. Alex developed new protocols for human-Zephyrian cooperation that saved both governments millions of dollars. Princess Kira created cultural exchange programs that helped hundreds of humans and Zephyrians understand each other better. But the criticism continued. On Earth, some politicians called for Alex to be removed from the diplomatic team. The Zephyrian world. Traditional leaders questioned Princess Kira's authority and suggested she was too influenced by human ideas. The worst moment came during a joint conference between both species. Alex was presenting a new research project when a human journalist asked him a hostile question. "Mr. Alex, how can we trust your research when you've been mentally altered by alien technology? How do we know you're still thinking like a human?" Alex felt his anger flare, but Princess Kira's calm presence in his mind helped him stay composed. "The bonding ceremony didn't change who I am. It expanded my understanding. I'm still the same person, just with a better ability to bridge the gap between our species. But you're in a romantic relationship with an alien. Doesn't that create a conflict of interest?" "My relationship with Princess Kira is based on mutual respect and understanding. It enhances my work, not compromises it. A Zephyrian council member stood up. Princess Kira, do you believe your human bonding partner truly understands Zephyrian needs, or is he simply advancing human interests? Princess Kira's patterns flared with indignation. Alex understands our culture better than many Zephyrians. He has spent months learning our language, our customs, and our way of thinking. His insights have been invaluable to our diplomatic efforts. Despite their strong responses, Alex could feel the tension in the room. The questions revealed the deep suspicions that still existed on both sides. That evening, Alex and Princess Kira walked through the ship's beautiful garden area. The glowing plants reminded Alex of their bonding ceremony, but now the memory felt bittersweet. Do you think we're fighting a losing battle? Princess Kira asked. Alex considered the question carefully. Maybe, but I've learned something important. Over the past few months, what's that? Our bond isn't just about us anymore. Every time we succeed at something, we prove that different species can work together. Every time we show that our relationship makes us stronger, not weaker, we're changing minds. Princess Kira's patterns brightened slightly. You really believe that? I do. Look at what we've accomplished together. The trade agreements are working perfectly. The cultural exchange programs are expanding. We've developed new technologies that benefit both worlds, but people still don't trust us. Some people don't, but others are starting to see the value of what we represent. Alex stopped walking and took her hand. Kira, I've been thinking about something. What? What if we stop trying to convince people that we're still the same as we were before? What if we embrace the fact that we're something new? Princess Kira looked confused. I don't understand. We're not just a human and a Zephyrian anymore. We're the first truly bonded interspecies couple. We represent a new possibility for both our peoples. Maybe instead of defending our past, we should be defining our future. Princess Kira's patterns began to pulse with excitement. You mean create something entirely new? Exactly. We could establish a new kind of diplomatic corps made up of bonded pairs from different species. We could create communities where interspecies families can thrive. Could show everyone that diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. That's a big dream, Alex. All the best dreams are big. He squeezed her hand. The question is, are you willing to help me make it real? Princess Kira's entire body lit up with brilliant colors. Let's stop apologizing for who we are, and start building something amazing. Over the following weeks, they began developing their vision. They presented proposals to both governments for new interspecies initiatives, reached out to other humans and Zephyrians who were interested. In bonding ceremonies, they started planning communities where mixed families could live and work together. The response was mixed, but more positive than they had expected. Young people from both species were particularly interested in the possibilities. Scientists and artists were excited about the creative potential of interspecies collaboration. Alex realized that their critics had been right about one thing. The bonding ceremony had changed them, but it hadn't made them less human or less Zephyrian. It had made them more than they could have been alone. As he watched Princess Kira work with a group of young diplomats, teaching them about interspecies communication, Alex felt a deep sense of satisfaction. They were no longer just trying to fit into their old roles. They were creating entirely new ones. The challenges weren't over, but Alex and Princess Kira were no longer facing them as outsiders trying to prove themselves. As pioneers, building a bridge between worlds that others could follow, their love story had become something bigger than either of them had imagined. It had become a symbol of hope for the future, showing that differences could be strengths and that understanding could overcome fear. The hardest part was over. Now came the exciting part, showing both worlds what was possible when different species chose to work together instead of staying apart. 1 year later, Alex stood on the observation deck of the new space station that orbited between Earth and the Zephyrian homeworld. The station was a marvel of combined human and Zephyrian technology, with gleaming metal corridors that pulsed. With living light from Zephyrian bio-systems, today was a special day. The first group of permanent residents was arriving at what everyone had started calling Unity Station. These weren't just diplomats or scientists on temporary assignments. These were families, couples, and individuals who wanted to build new lives in a place where being different was celebrated rather than feared. Nervous? Kira asked, joining him at the window. Alex smiled as he felt her calm presence through their bond. Excited, actually. We've worked so hard for this. Moment through the window, they could see 3 ships approaching. One from Earth, one from the Zephyrian world, and one from the new Mars colony that had been established with Zephyrian help. Each ship carried people who had chosen to be part of this experimental community. Do you ever think about what would have happened if we had never met? Princess Kira asked as Alex considered this. The diplomatic mission would have failed. Our peoples would have remained strangers. We would both still be alone. Instead, we have this. Princess Kira gestured to the station around them, a place where anyone can belong. Over the past year, Unity Station had grown from a simple idea into a thriving community. The original proposal for interspecies bonding programs had evolved into something much bigger. Scientists from both worlds worked together on projects that neither could have imagined alone. Artists created new forms of expression that combined human creativity with Zephyrian. Light-based art, families raised children who grew up speaking both languages and thinking in ways that bridged to cultures Alex and Princess Kira had become the unofficial leaders of this new community, not because they sought power, but because their example had inspired others to take similar risks. Remember our first month here? Princess Kira laughed, her patterns flickering with amusement. When the human families complained about the Zephyrian plants being too bright, and the Zephyrian families complained about human music being too loud, and now the Henderson family can't sleep without their Zephyrian night flowers, and the Zale family plays human classical music during their meditation time. It hadn't been easy building this community. There had been cultural misunderstandings, bureaucratic challenges, and continued criticism from traditionalists on both worlds. But every problem they solved made the community stronger. The first ship docked with a gentle thud. Alex and Princess Kira made their way to the welcoming area where other residents had gathered to greet the newcomers. The sight never failed to amaze Alex. Humans and Zephyrians standing together, children playing games that mixed both cultures, couples of different species holding hands without anyone staring. Dr. Sarah Chen, a human psychologist, emerged from the first ship with her husband, Commander Thane, a Zephyrian military officer. They had bonded 6 months ago and were among the first mixed couples to follow Alex and Princess Kira's example. "Welcome to Unity Station," Alex said, shaking their hands. "We're so happy to be here," Dr. Chen replied. "The applications for resident status are increasing every month. People from both worlds want to be part of what you've built." Commander Thane's patterns glowed with approval. The council elders are still skeptical, but they can't argue with the results. The technological advances coming from this station are benefiting everyone. From the second ship came a group of young scientists and artists. Among them was Jake Morrison, a human engineer who had volunteered to help design the station's systems, and Lyria, a Zephyrian artist who created beautiful light sculptures. "The new residential area is ready," Jake reported. "We've got housing for 50 more families, and the school expansion is nearly complete." "How many children are we expecting this term?" Princess Kira asked. Lyria replied, her patterns dancing with excitement. "Ages 5 to 16? Some are human, some are Zephyrian, and 3 are from mixed families." Alex felt a surge of pride. The school had been Princess Kira's idea, and it was proving to be one of their most successful programs. Children who grew up on Unity Station learned both languages naturally and developed a unique perspective that helped them solve problems in creative ways. The third ship brought perhaps the most important passengers, government officials from both worlds who had come to evaluate the station's success. Alex recognized Senator Williams from Earth's United Nations and High Counselor Zara from the Zephyrian Assembly. "Senator Williams, High Counselor Zara, welcome to Unity Station," Alex said formally. "Thank you for having us, Senator Williams," replied. "The reports we've been receiving are quite impressive." High Counselor Zara's patterns were more reserved, but Alex could sense curiosity rather than hostility. We are here to see for ourselves what has been accomplished. Over the next 3 days, Alex and Princess Kira gave the officials a complete tour of the station. They visited the research laboratories where human and Zephyrian scientists were developing new medical treatments. They saw the manufacturing facilities where combined technologies were creating products that neither world could make alone. But the most impressive stop was the community center, where residents gathered every evening for shared meals and cultural events. Senator Williams watched in amazement as human children played with Zephyrian light pets, while their parents discussed art and philosophy with neighbors from another world. "This is remarkable," Senator Williams said to Alex. "How do you handle conflicts between different cultural values?"
We don't try to eliminate differences,"
Alex replied. "We celebrate them. When conflicts arise, we use them as opportunities to learn and grow." Princess Kira added, "The bonding ceremony isn't just for couples. We've developed group bonding sessions that help entire families understand each other better. It creates empathy and connection that makes conflicts much easier to resolve." High Counselor Zara observed a group of teenagers working on a project together. These young people seem very different from either pure human or pure Zephyrian children. "They are different," Princess Kira agreed. "There's something new. They think in ways that bridge our two cultures naturally. Is that good or bad?" High Counselor Zara asked. Alex smiled. "It's the future. These children will grow up to solve problems that neither of our species could handle alone. They'll explore parts of the galaxy that neither humans nor Zephyrians could reach separately. They'll create art and music and literature that expresses ideas we can't even imagine yet." On the final day of the visit, the officials met with the entire community. Residents shared their stories and experiences, explaining how living on Unity Station had changed their lives. Maria Santos, human teacher, spoke about how learning Zephyrian communication methods had made her a better educator. "I can sense my students' emotions now in ways I never could before. It's revolutionized how I teach." Elder Keth, an older Zephyrian, talked about how human perspective had enriched his understanding of the universe. "Humans see possibilities where we see limitations. They've taught me to think beyond our traditional ways." Young Tommy Chun Thane, the 8-year-old son of Dr. Chen and Commander Thane, explained how he used both human logic and Zephyrian intuition to solve math problems. "It's like having two different kinds of thinking in my head. I can use whichever one works best." After the presentations, Senator Williams and High Counselor Zara met privately with Alex and Princess Kira. "We've made our decision," Senator Williams announced. "Both governments want to expand the Unity Station program. We're approving funding for 5 more stations, including one near the new Mars colony and one in the outer system." High Counselor Zara's patterns glowed with approval. "The success here has convinced even the most traditional council members. This is the future of interspecies cooperation." That evening, Alex and Princess Kira stood once again at the observation deck, watching the ships depart. The station was quiet now, settling into its normal rhythm of life. "We did it," Princess Kira said softly.
Actually baited.
"We're just getting started," Alex replied. 5 more stations means thousands more people will get the chance to build bridges between our worlds. "Do you think we'll see full integration in our lifetime?" Alex considered this. It's maybe not full integration, but something better. "We'll see the creation of a new kind of community, where being different is valued, where diversity is strength, and where the impossible becomes possible." Princess Kira's patterns pulsed with contentment. "I love you, Alex, not just for saving me from failure, but for showing me what we could become together. And I love you for teaching me that being an outsider isn't a weakness. It's a superpower." As they looked out at the stars, Alex thought about the journey that had brought them to this moment. It had started with a desperate princess asking for help, and a lonely scientist willing to take a risk. It had become something neither of them could have imagined, a movement that was changing the future of 2 worlds. The children growing up on Unity Station would never know a world where humans and Zephyrians were strangers. They would take interspecies friendship for granted and push the boundaries even further. They would explore distant galaxies, solve